Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and the first thing you notice is that something feels different. Your stomach feels flatter. Your waistband isn't digging into your skin the way it usually does. You take a breath, and for the first time in what feels like years, your body actually feels like yours again. No grueling workout. No starvation diet. No miserable calorie counting that leaves you thinking about food every waking second. Just a shift, a real biological shift that your body has been desperate to make for a very long time. Now, I know that sounds almost too good to be true, and I understand that reaction completely. But stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to share with you is not another wellness trend or a recycled fitness tip you've heard 100 times before. This is about understanding the one organ your doctor almost never mentions when they talk about weight loss, and why ignoring it has been quietly sabotaging everything you've ever tried. Let me ask you something honest. Have you ever done everything right? And I mean really done everything right. Cleaned up your diet, cut the sugar, swapped the elevator for the stairs, started going to bed earlier, and still watched your belly sit there completely unmoved? Maybe it even got a little bigger despite your efforts. If that's happened to you, I want you to understand something important right now. That is not a failure of discipline. That is not your metabolism being broken. That is not a sign that your body is working against you. That is a sign that you've been targeting the wrong problem entirely. Because here is the truth that almost nobody in the health and fitness world is talking about. Your belly fat is not a calorie problem. It is not a willpower problem. It is not even a food problem in the way you've been taught to think about it. It is a liver problem. More specifically, it is a congestion problem. And your liver has been sending you signals about this for years. You just didn't know how to read them. To understand why this matters so deeply, you need to understand what your liver was actually built to do. For roughly 200,000 years of human history, your liver had one critical survival job above everything else: hold fat during times of danger. When winter hit and food became scarce, when the hunt failed week after week, when the environment turned hostile, the liver would send a chemical signal throughout your entire body that essentially said, store everything deep, store it visceral, and make it almost impossible to burn. That deep belly fat packed around your organs wasn't a flaw in the design. It was the design. It was a biological savings account that your body refused to touch until it was absolutely certain the threat had passed. And at the center of that entire system was one enzyme, lipoprotein lipase, or LPL, that acted as the gatekeeper between burning fat and storing it. LPL's job in every single moment is to decide whether the fat coming into your body gets sent to your muscles as fuel or gets directed straight into that deep abdominal storage. And whether it does one or the other depends almost entirely on what signal it receives from your liver. Here is where the story gets really important. When your liver is healthy, clear, and running smoothly, LPL routes fat to your muscles. You burn it. You have energy. Your belly stays flat. But when your liver is congested, when it's overloaded and overwhelmed, LPL flips the switch entirely. Every gram of dietary fat you consume gets directed straight to visceral storage, the dangerous deep belly fat that wraps around your organs and drives up your health risks. And the critical question is this: what is overloading your liver in the first place? Because it's not what most people think. Your liver's operating system hasn't been updated in 10,000 years. But your environment has changed completely and radically in just the last few decades. The threats your liver was designed to handle were predators, famine, and physical danger. The threats it's dealing with today are processed fructose, refined seed oils, environmental toxins in tap water, and pharmaceutical residues that you absorb without even realizing it. The threats changed completely. Your liver's response did not. Every time it detects overload, no matter what the source, it tells LPL the same thing it's always told it. We are not safe. Store everything. Your body is storing belly fat not because it's broken, but because it genuinely believes it's under siege. So the solution is not to eat less and suffer more. The solution is to end the siege. That's exactly what this 10-day protocol is designed to do. It works through 7 specific interventions, and each one sends a precise biological signal to your liver that stacks on top of the others. Together, they shift your body out of fat storage mode and into fat release mode, often within the first 72 hours. The first intervention starts the moment you open your eyes in the morning. Most people wake up and immediately reach for their phone, and within 30 seconds their body is flooded with cortisol from notifications, social comparison, and the low-level anxiety of the news cycle. Here's why that matters. Cortisol directly activates receptors in your visceral fat, the very fat you are trying to get rid of. And it tells LPL to lock that fat down even harder. You are literally reinforcing belly fat storage before you've even gotten out of bed. So before coffee, before food, before you touch a screen of any kind, you drink 500 milliliters of warm water mixed with a quarter teaspoon of sea salt and the juice of half a lemon. The citric acid in that lemon activates your liver's cytochrome P450 enzymes and begins the detox cycle your liver has been queued up to run since you went to sleep. That one simple change creates a completely different starting point for everything that follows throughout the day. The second intervention is the one people push back on the hardest because it feels counterintuitive. You need to eliminate fructose before noon. And I know, the morning smoothie feels healthy. The fruit bowl feels virtuous. But fructose is metabolized exclusively in the liver, unlike glucose, which gets processed by every cell in your body. When you consume high fructose foods before noon, you are dumping a chemical surge into a liver that hasn't finished clearing its overnight backlog yet. The cascade that follows is direct and measurable. The liver converts that incoming fructose into new fat through a process called de novo lipogenesis. LPL has nowhere to route it except straight into visceral storage, and a gene called SREP1C gets activated that actually cuts your body's fat-burning capacity by up to 50% for the next 6 hours. 6 hours. That means one morning smoothie can functionally shut down fat burning for the entire first half of your day. For 10 days, no fruit juice, no dried fruit, no honey before midday. Replace those with eggs, avocado, leafy greens, and 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed, foods that initiate bile flow and begin clearing the backlog your liver has been buried under. The third intervention targets bile, and this is where things get fascinating. Bile is the fluid your liver produces to digest and transport fat for elimination from the body. When bile flow is sluggish and slow, dietary fat gets incompletely processed, and toxins that were supposed to leave the body get reabsorbed right back into your circulation. That means your liver has to filter the exact same toxic load a second time and a third time, keeping congestion levels permanently high no matter how clean your diet is. 3 specific food-based compounds break this recycling loop consistently and powerfully. Artichoke extract taken before each meal increases bile production. Milk thistle taken with breakfast regenerates the actual cell membranes of your liver cells. and a cup of dandelion root tea at lunch stimulates your gallbladder to physically contract and release stored bile. These are not random supplement recommendations. These three compounds carry the strongest clinical evidence available for reducing hepatic fat accumulation, and together they create a bile flow pattern that allows your liver to finally process and eliminate what it's been holding on to for months. Now, the fourth intervention is the one that completely reframes how most people think about exercise. For these 10 days, you are going to replace high-intensity workouts with two specific movements that your liver can actually benefit from. The first is a gentle 20-minute walk after dinner. This isn't about burning calories. It's about activating glut transporters in your muscle cells that pull glucose out of your bloodstream without triggering a cortisol spike. Here is why that matters. Visceral fat, the deep belly fat around your organs, has 4 times more cortisol receptors than the fat sitting under your skin. Every intense workout you do while your liver is still congested sends a cortisol surge through your body that tells visceral fat to hold tighter, not release. You are working incredibly hard and making the exact problem you're trying to solve worse at the same time. The second movement is 10 slow, deep diaphragmatic breaths 4 times per day. Your liver sits directly beneath your diaphragm, and every full, deep breath physically massages it, increases hepatic blood flow, and improves the pressure gradient that drives bile through the bile ducts. 2 minutes of deep breathing 4 times a day is genuinely one of the most underrated liver health tools in existence. The fifth intervention addresses something that most people never connect to belly fat at all: sleep timing. Between 1 and 3 in the morning, your liver enters its peak regeneration and detoxification cycle. But it can only run that cycle if melatonin signaling has been properly established hours earlier. Most people are awake too late, under artificial light for too long, and their liver's night shift never fully activates. The detox cycle that should be running at full capacity while you sleep is instead barely ticking over. For 10 days, lights out by 10:30 with no exceptions. And 30 minutes before sleep, you take 10 milliliters of tart cherry juice, concentrate, and water. Tart cherry contains naturally occurring melatonin alongside anthocyanins that reduce hepatic inflammation and directly activate something called the NRF2 antioxidant pathway in your liver cells, the same pathway that the most expensive liver supplements on the market are trying to target. You are getting that effect from a fruit concentrate that costs almost nothing. The sixth intervention solves a problem inside your gut that keeps your liver perpetually overloaded even when you think you're doing everything right. When your liver processes hormones and toxins, it packages them in bile and sends them to the small intestine for elimination. But without enough soluble fiber in your digestive system, those bile-bound toxins don't leave. They get reabsorbed through the intestinal wall, return to the liver via the portal vein, and the liver has to process the exact same toxic load all over again. 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed daily creates a physical barrier that captures bile acids before they can be reabsorbed. And 1 cup of cooked cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, or Brussels sprouts, provides compounds called indole 3-carbinol and DIM that accelerate estrogen metabolism and directly support your liver's Phase 2 detoxification pathway. Phase 2 is where your liver actually prepares toxins to leave the body permanently. Supporting it is the difference between a detox that works and one that just moves things around without ever resolving the underlying issue. The 7th and final intervention is the simplest one, and it might be the most important of all. Your liver filters 2 liters of blood every single minute. Blood is mostly water, Even mild dehydration thickens blood viscosity, slows hepatic filtration, and deepens the backlog that is driving everything else. Beyond hydration itself, tap water in most municipal systems now contains chloramine, a disinfectant compound that depletes your liver's glutathione reserves. Glutathione is the master antioxidant your liver depends on to neutralize toxins. Every glass of unfiltered tap water is quietly draining one of the most critical resources your liver has. Filter your water. Add a small pinch of sea salt to every liter to support mineral balance. And drink before you feel thirsty, because by the time thirst hits, your liver is already working at a disadvantage. When you stack all 7 of these interventions together, something remarkable begins to happen on a timeline that most people find genuinely surprising. By day 2, the morning bloating that has been with you for months starts to ease. Your liver is beginning to clear its filtration backlog for the first time in a long time. By day 5, your waistband sits differently. Your energy stops crashing in the afternoon because the SREP-1C fat synthesis loop has been deactivated by the fructose elimination. By day 10, the entire system is running the way it was always supposed to. LPL is routing fat to your muscles instead of locking it into storage. Bile is flowing freely. The toxin recycling loop is broken. Your body is releasing the visceral fat it has been protecting, not because you forced it out through restriction and suffering, but because you finally gave your biology the signal it was waiting for. You stop craving sugar at 3 in the afternoon. You naturally consume fewer calories at dinner without trying. Fat loss becomes a side effect of a system that is finally working, not a battle you are fighting every single day. The weight loss industry has built an entire economy on keeping you inside that battle. They sell you restriction because restriction has to be purchased again and again, every Monday, every January, every time you feel bad enough about yourself to try one more time. They treat the smoke and ignore the fire. And the fire has always been the liver. What you have been told your whole life, that your belly fat is your fault, that you simply lack the discipline to fix it, that narrative has never been about your health. It has been about keeping you dependent, keeping you spending, and keeping you from understanding what is actually happening inside your own body. Your body is not broken. It has never been working against you. It has been doing exactly what it was designed to do, protecting you, because the signals it received told it the environment was not safe. Your belly fat is not stubbornness. It is protection. And the moment you change the signal, the moment your liver receives the clear, unmistakable message that the siege is finally over, it will let go of what it has been holding. You were never the problem. The signal was wrong. For 10 days, you change the signal, and everything changes with it.